And we are live. Good morning, everybody. Morning as in 4 p.m. for those of us who sleep in. It is, I was looking at this tournament. It is now, I think it's 57% full. I'm 50% through my teams. I don't know if I'm going to max it. I probably will end up maxing the tournament. But I definitely need to. I've also been waiting to see if other contests come in because if there's like a little board too, I definitely want to max that, and I would much rather have more bullets than more than to max this one. Not a huge fan of the payout structure with it having 25,000 to first and uh 10,000 to seventh. So it's literally 25 times. It's a little less than 25 times, but it's close to 25 times the difference for those spots. Anyway, gonna go ahead and enter the big board. I wish they would get their location error fixed. A lot of people are still having those issues, but at least we do not live in New York where Underdog now does not exist. Welcome, Victor. I mean, Underdog exists there. It's just they removed the tournaments. Anyway, big news in Ja'Marr Chase and T. Higgins both signed. 4 years, 161 million, 112 million guaranteed for Ja'Marr. Highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. T. Higgins, 4 year, 115 million with the first 2 years guaranteed. That is Ja'Marr was like 40 million a year, and I believe T was it was a little under 30. And I had I was looking at this. Sorry for all the white, but as of a couple days ago, the Bengals had their cap space was $26,000, and they still don't have Trey Hendrickson signed. And I I'm not sure if that number's been updated or not, but they don't have the those signings listed, so it probably isn't, which means they probably don't have any money. And if they lose Trey Hendrickson, like all they're going to do is score more points. That's all that's going to happen. Like I actually today moved every Bengal up in all of my rankings because I don't believe they're going to have it. Like their defense is probably going to be. It won't be significantly better. It could be. I mean, it was pretty bad, so it'd be hard to get worse. But I don't see them being like a top 10, top 15 defense or anything. And if they can't stop anybody, well, they're gonna have to score more points. And they just invested all this into an offense we know works. So investing into Bengals offense to me is just something you want to do as often as possible. With the Samaje Perine signing, the Chase Brown pick actually feels a lot better. They probably will still draft somebody, but I mean, they should probably draft a lot of defense and take a running back, take one of the really good depth pieces at running back. In my opinion, so if they do that, Chase Brown is going to be an absolute smash where he's going at the end of the 3-4 turns. And like I moved Andre Yoshivas up, like because I just believe they're gonna have to score 30 points to win every week. And if they're scoring 30 points a game, you want every piece of that team that you can get. Uh, how is the video feed with me switching the resolution or the timing on it? It's supposed to have a lower latency now. I'm just kind of curious if that affected the actual video or not. All right, thank you. These rooms have been taking a little bit longer to fill. I know a lot of people are pretty close to being out of bullets. Uh, I I've kind of been waiting for the better structured tournaments mostly. Like I'm gonna do a bunch of these. I planned on doing it like not 150, but like between 100 and 110. And that was my plan. I'll probably end up doing a few more. Especially like I will max it if they don't offer more tournaments, but they're still what 5 weeks before the draft. I would be absolutely shocked if they don't add more tournaments. And last year they had a rookie and sophomore draft, which I did not take part in, where all you have are rookies, incoming rookies, and year two players in the NFL. And that to me sounds like a lot of fun. So I don't know how much it'll be or anything, but assuming it's not an insane price, I will probably be into wanting to try that. There's a like I like a lot of the sophomores this year too. So more news. Jameis Winston visited with the New York Giants, or is scheduled to. Maybe I haven't heard anything else on the Aaron Rodgers ordeal. Like you hear that he is visiting the the Vikings. You hear he's not. It's it's a circus, like it is every time he's in the news. So that is a joke. I like it. Baseball tooting to San Francisco in the third round, like that feels like something they would do. Waiting for one still. Um, yeah, so Hayden Winks earlier put out, where was that chart? This one right here. So last year, Jordan Mason was number one in the NFL in missed tackles forced. That's one of the best stats to to tell how good a running back actually is. Like it from my understanding, and I haven't done my own research on this, but people I absolutely trust have done the research on this. Missed tackles force is one of the most translatable skills from college to the NFL, and it's one of the and it's a skill that in the NFL is still very good. So the fact that he missed like that is a really high percentage, and all of like the top four people are like Bucky Irving, somebody everyone loves. A lot of people like Kenneth Walker, and Bijan Robinson is absolutely insane. The surprising thing on this list, like, yes, Jordan Mason, if you hadn't heard, he got traded to the Minnesota Vikings for a sixth round pick swap and a sixth round pick next year. So the interesting thing on this is Tank Bigsby down here at 32%. I'm not on board with like I have some Travis Etienne, but between Travis Etienne and Tank Bigsby, I'm kind of more into Tank Bigsby right now. I feel like I hear a lot of people say that Tank Bigsby is more of the Rashad White and Travis Etienne is more of the Bucky Irving, but that is to me not farther from the truth. Like Travis Etienne's not like he's not good at running, like finding his gaps in the run game. That is not one of his strengths. That's one of the things Bucky Irving does very well. He has good vision and he does that. And Rashad White is really good out of the backfield catching passes and being whenever he has a wide field, being able to see it and assess where he needs to go. And Travis Etienne can do that well. To me, that is more of the comp. And with Liam Cohen coming over from that backfield, I personally think that, and my exposure doesn't show it yet, but I'm usually trying to get ahead, like get caught up in a different position where Bigsby goes. But I personally like Tank Bigsby quite a bit. All right, we drew the 107. This draft seems to be going fairly normal so far. I think I haven't taken Nico Collins in a while. Like I'm before they traded Laramie Tunsil, I thought Nico Collins was like the 106, 105. Probably more like the 10. Yeah, I had him at the 106. I had him before CeeDee Lamb and Puka. But that trade, like CJ Stroud struggled last year because of the offensive line, and they traded away one of their better offensive linemen. So I I'm not super sold that it's going to be great, and I do think the Christian Kirk signing is really good for Nico. Um, but they there's a lot of teams that their offensive line really worry me this year, and the Texans are one of them. And I actually had before the Laramie Tunsil trade in a contest that closed, like so the drafters $3 tournament. They're on their second one. The first one it pretty much closed right before the combine, and I had like 20% Nico Collins in that contest because the Laramie Tunsil trade hadn't happened yet. So I stopped taking him as much on underdog because if he smashes, I have a lot of options there. And it is a completely different contest over there. It's full PPR over there, and it's total points throughout the season. So, and I'm gonna love what happens here because Genty, Achan, and Bowers are still all still available, and I love all three of those picks. And so is Drake London, who I'm trying to get a little bit more Drake London. I kind of I think I would like an Achan team here. If I were to if I were to get a pick, what I got, it's gonna be Achan, but that's what he picked. So we're not doing that. Um, so I have 27% of my Nico teams. I have Drake London on. And something I kind of want to start doing a little more. And as I was talking earlier, whenever I'm at the back end of the board, I'm going to go ahead and take Brock Bowers here. But so T. Higgins has been drafted from like 21 to 28 the entire season. So next time I'm back here at the 10, 11, or 12, I think I'm going to take Neighbors or Amon who go here all the time. Like they're almost always the 10 and 11 pick, maybe 9. And I'm going to just pull T. Higgins up. Like I do like these other players more than T. Higgins, not in Jigba, but like I like London more. I like McConkey more, but it's not that much more than T. Higgins. So to get a unique combination, I'm gonna start like I'm probably gonna do it 2 or 3 times, but I'm gonna pull Neighbors or T. Higgins up to pair. Probably like I think I want to do it with Brian Thomas because I like Brian Thomas a little more than the other two, but I'll definitely do it once with Brian Thomas, and then I'll probably do it once with either or one of those players, just to have a unique pairing. And I don't think that that's that big of a stretch. Like, especially with the signing and them not having money to spend on defense. To me, T. Higgins, like Jackson Smith and Jigba, when DK Metcalf just flew up the board. He was going basically where he's going, like he was going right there where Garrett Wilson just went. And when that trade happened, he just flew up the board. And I think I still like T. Higgins more. But who knows? Like I don't want no uh, T. Higgins either. But what that'll do is that'll get me T. Higgins also with Chase Brown because you pretty much Chase Brown has been at this side of the board the entire season. I don't have a whole lot of Kyron Williams, and I have a 10% Nico and 13% Bowers. So would be a good team to get a little unique on. Getting Kyron Williams makes this unique for my portfolio. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I know that this start I have nowhere else. So the rest of the draft I can kind of just take best player available. Maybe mix in some people here or there, like a faller that I don't like. Probably take them if I get some value on them. But yeah, like on this end of the board, right in here, you can get Chase Brown. You can get Chase Brown at 34 almost every single draft, and half the drafts you can get him at like 39. So let's say I'm at the 11 hole. If I just go Malik Neighbors, T. Higgins, and then Chase Brown, like if the Jamar Chase drafter doesn't take Joe Burrow, I'm pretty much guaranteed to get Joe Burrow back here at 59 as well. And if he does take him, that's fine. Like I don't want to spend that much capital on him anyway. Um, but it will have T. Higgins with two players that are very unique, and one of them will be correlated. So that's something I'm gonna do a couple times. I'm not gonna go crazy with it. Like I still like a lot of these players, but having going into this wanting zero Christian McCaffrey, and I don't want to be over 5 or 6% Derrick Henry. Like that gives me a lot of room to play. And this guy, as you see right here, he did the same kind of thing. He took somebody who goes in the middle here, AJ Brown, and paired him with somebody who's mostly went at this corner the whole season. And then he pulled Rashid Rice up too. That's a little weird. All right, one pick away. According to my rankings, I want Mike Evans. I'm actually really cool with either one of these two picks. Um, so we will look at this and how much. Where is? Oh, he took the other player I was wanting. So I guess it doesn't matter. Go ahead and take Mike Evans. Give me a second really solid wide receiver. I I'm not gonna have to take another tight end until like the last couple rounds now, if I don't want. I have two of my three like wide receivers, and I have what I hope to be an elite running back. So from here, I can kind of just build out whatever I want, and you can do whatever. Like the main goal is obviously you just need to build a solid squad, a squad that has high potential, like a high single weeks upside, with a very with a big enough floor that you can get through the regular season and get to the playoff weeks. And I feel like all three of these play or all four of these players offer both. So now that I'm a little scared in Kyron Williams, that's why I'm only 3%. I felt like this draft class is really good at the running back, and I would be pretty surprised if the Rams don't end up taking one again this year. I don't know how high I would expect that, but their defense took massive leaps last year. So I could definitely see them taking somebody this year, taking a running back again. Like they looked for a backup last year. Sean, they did mention that the studs on their offense were Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Higbee, and Blake Corum. So that makes it like hearing that, you kind of wonder if they're going to, and if they don't, if they don't draft somebody, I love Kyron Williams, but Kyron Williams needs all the volume because his efficiency is not that good. Well, I'll go ahead and take a share of Tet. He doesn't usually fall here. Getting 10 picks of discount on Tetairoa McMillan, or 8. So he actually ran at his pro day today, and it was a hand time, so that doesn't mean it's like official or anything, but the reported time was 4:48, which is very solid for what he is. Now, if it comes in, it was like 4:54, that's still fine. That's not his game. His game isn't speed. His game is contested catches and run after the catch stuff. He's pretty solid at both. So I kind of need to get in on him a little more. But these two, Chris Godwin's the player I want the most now. I think I've talked about that before, but I was out on him, not knowing where he was going to go. I wanted to see a contract to make sure he was healthy. But I also was willing to make that bet because I have hundreds of drafts still to do after the NFL draft. And I can get a lot of volume there, and I will probably be overweight Chris Godwin in those contests. So, I've made a couple of the stands I'm making right now aren't necessarily stands that will stay that way when the regular season, when after the NFL draft. I mean, the obvious one is because of landing spot. If the Bucks for some reason took Tetairoa McMillan with Godwin and Jalen McMillan and Mike Evans, obviously you're gonna not like all of those players a little more. All right, so by ADP, Jerry Jeudy's the pick here. I think I just want to get a solid running back again. I don't have any David Montgomery with Kyron Williams, but I don't have very much Kyron Williams. Taking David Montgomery gives me a very high floor at running back, assuming that he works out. What that'll do is it'll make me more likely to take shots on rookies and high upside swings at running back later. So I like taking him here. I mean, it's a 6th round. He averaged, I think it was 14 points a game last year. as the second running back in the offense. Yeah, 14.4 fantasy points per game last year, which is crazy because Gibbs averaged 19.93. So their running back room averaged, what is that, 33? Oh, basically 34. Yeah, it's 34 points a game between two players. I actually did something that felt really good last night. I actually took Jahmyr Gibbs in the first and just took David Montgomery in the sixth and locking up 30 fantasy points a week. Like a guaranteed, like it, not that their offense will be as good or definitely be as good. They lost Ben Johnson and they lost, I believe they lost an offensive lineman as well. So, but like worst case scenario, that's like 26 points a week. It, all right. Tons of players I still like here. I I don't I'm hoping that they don't take Ricky Pearsall. I would like to get somebody who's not a rookie here. Although I have the two rookies rated above him. Since I've already taken Tet, I don't really want to also do that since I only have those two. It's just a personal choice. It wouldn't be wrong by any means to go ahead and just stack up the rookies there and then get like some Thielens late. But I also like Golden Egbuka and Ricky Pearsall are three of my favorite clicks on the entire board. As you can see, I had 17% Ricky, 13% Egbuka, and 18% Golden. And with the average being 8%, like obviously there's a lot of players around this area that I don't have a lot of. Cooper Kupp being one of them. Najee Harris continues to kind of rise up the board. Like it's very slowly, but this is where I believe he should be, somewhere around here. Maybe, probably, where Caleb Johnson, like around Quinshawn, would make some sense. That, but I mean, there's a huge upside for him. The problem is he doesn't give spike weeks. So like David Montgomery is definitely a floor play like Najee Harris, but David Montgomery also has in the past given like 20 to 24 point performances. I'm not sure that it's true. I haven't looked at it, but I did hear that Najee has never had he's only had like one or two games in his entire career that's over 17 points. And last year, I believe that was true. Well, I don't take very much Khalil Shakir. Or this could be a good place to get a Tyrone Tracy share as well. Um, but Jalen McMillan's been falling quite a bit lately. I have Mike Evans. I think I'm going to go ahead and take Baker Mayfield here. A team I drafted last night, I actually pushed Jalen McMillan, like on accident. I pushed Jalen McMillan all the way around to 106 with because I took Baker with Godwin. So if I do this, that like I'll have a team on both sides of the if Godwin gets hurt, I have the McMillan share, and he has to fall the rest of the way. Like it's a pretty big ask for him to fall. But the Baker pick is a pick I probably could have made either way. I for of all these quarterbacks in this range, Baker and Kyler are the two that never actually fall for some because you have two really good receivers on both of them. You have obviously Trey McBride and Marvin Harrison on the one side, and you have Mike Evans and Chris Godwin on the other. And with those elite Like Caleb Williams also kind of falls in that, but he falls a little more often. And I've been seeing Bo Nix fall a lot more lately as well. Let's see, did this team take Sutton? Yeah, this team brought Sutton up. I've been seeing Sutton move up a little bit. Well, I'm one pick away from completing the quest. And there we go. So, yeah, Jalen McMillan, since the signing, has been just plummeting down boards, but I will take him in this area like all the time. So I feel really good about this receiving core now. I have McMillan, Evans stacked with Baker. I have two solid, like very solid running backs. I have Nico Collins, Tet, and Ricky Pearsall, and my elite tight end and Brock Bowers. So I'm pretty safe. Like I could probably take another. Like if Travis Hunter makes it all the way back, I'll take him, but that isn't going to happen. Uh, Probably taking one wide receiver, one quarterback here in the next couple rounds, and uh, finish this draft off with a whole bunch of rookie or running backs. If it comes back to me, okay, so Brock Purdy went, that gets rid of that stack. The question is do I want people love to take um they love to take unstacked CJ Stroud, and CJ Stroud doesn't run unless it's the playoffs. So I don't really want to have to push it, but I mean, if he's available, I will absolutely do that. So, anything else interesting in this draft? Well, that right there is interesting. Isaiah Likely as your third tight end, rounds 8, 9, and 10. Okay, we'll take Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter, most of the time, anymore, like he rarely gets past 108. Very rarely. So I got a fall on Jalen McMillan in this draft. I got a fall on Travis Hunter in this draft. And everything else I've kind of taken around ADP. A small fall in Mike Evans. And I'm not sure what you think, but I really like this. My obvious pick in the next round, if it comes back around, will be CJ Stroud. If it doesn't, I'm not really worried about it because I'll just pull Geno Smith up a little bit. And this is what I mean with I really like Bigsby, but I have a hard time getting him because Bigsby goes right here. I absolutely love Cam Scatterbo, and Drake May is my number one owned quarterback because if my stacks get taken from me, I usually just snag Drake May as a rushing upside. And he's very easy to stack later because you have like 9 options of bad players. So you don't even have to invest in them. And if I have any rookie wide receiver, you can tell yourself that maybe the Patriots draft him because they definitely need that. But with those two, with me really liking that position or taking Dak Prescott or CJ Stroud in this area, it makes it hard for me to get to Tank Bigsby. Not because I dislike him, but just because of the way I've been building my teams. I usually have a couple running backs by here, and I still need a quarterback. So that's and I usually have one, two, or three running backs at most, but I do think Scatabo is the end of a tier. Like I think him and Bigsby are in the same tier, but I think that like I his upside is bigger to me. So with Baker and CJ Stroud, I might be done at quarterback. If there's a small slide on Geno Smith, I'll probably just take Geno Smith as well. Looks like this is kind of what I do a lot. Just take three quarterbacks back to back to back, or like two here and then one here. It feels like the safest thing to do. He double stacked DJ Moore and Adunze. He's got Ladd with Goff or with Herbert, and he's got, does he have? Yeah, he's got Jahmyr Gibbs with Jared Goff, but that's a discount on Jared Goff. Jared Goff usually goes in the round before that. So in this next round, I don't really like the wide receiver or the running backs too much that go in that area. So I might take another tight end. I mean, Tucker Kraft would be the easy click for me. But I don't know. I could see myself taking either Tajay. If I take Tucker Kraft here, I can just be completely done. I don't expect him to fall all the way because they both need a second tight end. But yeah, I'll be completely done. And that was a pretty big fall. That was like a 15 pick fall on him. So of all of these running backs, I don't have any Tootin with Kyron. And I don't have. I think I just go ahead and take Tootin here for the upside play. Since I believe I have some floor here. So in this world, we just say, hey, Tootin actually gets that round 3 capital. Maybe there's actually been rumors that he's going to go late round 2 now, even. So I definitely don't buy that. And I still think Devon Achane is a really bad comp for Tootin because of his receiving ability. Like, he hasn't shown that he can be a receiver like Achane had. Now, receiving something you can learn, so I'm not saying he couldn't become that or something like that, but Achane is essentially just an extra receiver out there who also can run the ball. So that's a very high ask. Like, Achane is a very unique talent in the NFL. And Tootin is also 20 pounds heavier and ran the same speeds. So, and he can't catch, and he's not known as a receiver. So just because the guy's fast doesn't mean he's Devon Achane. Like, that's not how it works. Like, that's not how it works for me, at least. You can have it work however you want in your own head. So Ray Davis goes way before he usually does, and I don't hate it. Like, Ray Davis is a player who James Cook is supposedly, he's looking for a contract extension. Uh, they didn't give Ty Johnson a ton of money. Like, if that contract extension thing doesn't work out, I mean, it will. Like, players rarely sit, but stuff like that, like, part of the reason the Bills love James Cook is because he's really good as a leader. And I mean, if he lets that be a distraction, maybe they dislike him as a leader more. I mean, that's totally just thinking about it. Like, no idea if it's gonna happen or be true, anything like that. But there's definitely a possibility that they get upset by that and give Ray Davis more opportunity. All right, one pick away. Isaac Guerendo, all the way up here. That is a very aggressive pick. So I think I'm just going to go ahead and do the old Jordan Mason here. I'm not I wasn't sold on Aaron Jones last year. I was wrong. I'm kind of sold on him this year, but the Vikings did actually like they trade like Jordan Mason signed a $5 million tender, and I believe like they either have to honor that or restructure his contract now that they've traded for him. If you look at what all the running backs got in the offseason, $5 million would be like if you exclude the restructures or the re-signings and you go to just free agency stuff, it I believe it would be the number one contract. Yes, Najee Harris's is 10 is up to 10 million, but I think it's like 4.5 million 4.5 million guaranteed. So you could argue that that 5 million that he has is the most anybody got. So Mike Evans, Jalen McMillan, Devin Neal's still here at 162. Like I think I just have to do it. I really wanted Kate Otten or Geno Smith here. Really wanted either one of them. But you will give me a 20 pick discount on a rookie that I do kind of like? Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. You guys made me do this, remember. This was forced on me. I had no choice in the matter. No, I actually was debating on taking Devin Neal over Jordan Mason, but I felt like pulling Jordan Mason up. I think that's a pretty solid spot for him, and I do think that him and Garendo should go pretty close together. I like Garendo more as a player, uh, but Mason, they both have running backs in front of them that have not stayed healthy. Like Aaron Jones did play all 17 games last year, but he left hurt in a couple of them, and the Vikings did get a little frustrated with him last year at times for fumbles. So that means that there's definitely a world where Jordan Mason takes that job. Don't get the Geno Smith fall. That would have been fantastic. But I'm pretty okay. We'll go ahead and look and see what quarterbacks are available still. Nobody. Got it. I'm content with this. Like quarterbacks are the position that separate the least. And if one of them's giving me 20 points, like if they get around 20 points each week, like any a very good, unless you're a rushing quarterback like Jaden or Lamar or Jalen, rarely do they get like into the 30s in points. And a three touchdown game is usually 20ish points. So, all right. K. Dotton falls as well. Fantastic. Bucks go burr. That's what we're doing here. K. Dotton, Jalen McMillan, Mike Evans, Baker Mayfield own everybody. Travis Hunter actually plays wide receiver. And I feel pretty good about this. So Alec Eilmanor was falling to like 190 over and over again a couple weeks ago. But his combine was fine. He just didn't look amazing at it. Like he looked good, but he didn't look amazing at it. That is unique. MVS at 172. I really like Marquez Valdez Scantling this year, but he is free in like round. Like you could, there's no chance anybody takes him before like round 18. So, or very little, I guess. There is a chance because this guy just done it. So, Zach Kwazek, congratulations, you got your guy. All right, so I have 2, 5, 6, 2. I can kind of do anything I want right here. I don't have a reason to take Shedeur Sanders by ADP. There's never a reason to take Isaiah Bond unless he's past 200. I don't have very much Wan'Dale Robinson. I have two rookies here. Wan'Dale might be okay in this team. I do love these rookies though. I just go ahead and take one of the rookies. I really like Noel, and then yeah, I'll go ahead and take Noel. And Josh Palmer, I was kind of looking at him as well. But yeah, Alec Iomanner, he's had some injury problems before. His contested catch rate wasn't as high as it should be for his size. But he profiles as a good wide receiver. Like as a NFL caliber wide receiver. And I could like he might be Quentin Johnston, like because Quentin Johnston's biggest thing was he couldn't catch the ball, or he could not catch the ball, but his contested catches were low. So you can kind of compare him in that manner. But I don't know. I think that he's supposed to get draft like I've not heard that he's going to fall out of the second round. Like if a team invests a second round, even an early third round pick into him, that means that team wants to use him. And all the news that I've seen, I've not seen anything saying that he's going to fall. And he's been projected there, and all the mock drafts everywhere continually keep him up top. The people like what's his name? Todd McShay actually kind of likes him, like to stay in that range. So, all right, done there. Is Shedeur still there? He is not. Running backs. I think I just take a last wide receiver. Yeah, I'll take Restrepo. So I'll be done at wide receiver here. Four rookie wide receivers and 4 veterans. Little risky, but I'm okay with it. And then have like you don't win this without having risk. You have to hit big on something because you got to beat. It's like what was it? 558 people in the last week. So you have to have some risk somewhere on your squad, most likely. All right, back to the board. See what did the guy who took MVS? He took Damien Martinez. Love it. He's my favorite. At cost, he's my favorite rookie running back in the draft or in the draft cycle right now. He is scheduled to visit. So the Cowboys, seen it earlier. I think that they've only scheduled 4 top 30 visits, and one of those, all 4 of them were running back. Is like Ashton Jeanty, Damian Martinez, and 2 other guys. Dylan Sampson. I can't remember the last one. So Damian Martinez on the Cowboys would be an absolute smash for what I've been doing. So I can take out wide receiver. Can pretty much take that out. So do I want to take Marshawn Lloyd here? This could be a team where I take Sean Tucker. I do think I'm going to go 5 running back or 7 running backs. So I think I'll just go ahead and take Marshawn Lloyd. Lloyd's a player I really liked last year. He got hurt. He finally got healthy. And as soon as he got healthy, he got hurt again. And it was the second injury was kind of a fluke thing. It was, I can't remember what it was. But it was like a non-football, I believe it was like a non-football thing. And he just never got a chance to play because he wasn't really healthy. And they spent reasonable capital on him last year. So, and they invested more into the offensive line. Yeah, Josh Jacobs was an absolute animal, but both Chris Brooks and Emmanuel Wilson both looked okay. And nothing against those two, but Marshawn Lloyd is a more talented back to me. So if he's actually available this year, he's got potential to be solid. And we know that Green Bay wants to run the ball. They proved that last year. So I kind of like him in these last rounds. They're also a pretty good team, an okay offense, and you want your pieces to be on good offenses when possible. So like I have the backup at Green Bay and Minnesota. I guess you technically could say Detroit, but I don't really consider Montgomery a backup, although he is like I consider them both ones. Yes, Gibbs is the more explosive player and probably the better player. But Montgomery had 220 touches last year and Gibbs had 280. So they gave the ball to the running backs. Like, that's not rushes, that includes receptions. But that's near 500 touches for those two players. Let's say it drops and Montgomery only has 180 touches and Gibbs has 300. That doesn't mean Montgomery is going to be bad. That's going to take him from like 14.4 points a game to like 12 points a game. And 12 points a game, although it's not what you want, it's not awful either. I have a whole bunch of Rachaad White, so I'm going to go ahead and take this Sean Tucker share to balance that out. Feel pretty good about all of my positions now. Probably just tack on another tight end, possibly another wide receiver. What are the quarterbacks? I kind of want to take Jameis Winston. just because he's going to be very low owned. I like but he's almost definitely a zero, right? Like if he doesn't get a starting job, he's just a zero the whole season. So read the news on him. Yeah, scheduled division the Giants. I think I'll just go with another one of these rookie tight ends. We'll go with Arroyo here. Arroyo, or I guess Harold Fannon's all the way down here. I'll take him. I missed that he was available. Fannon used to go at like pick 170 every draft. All right, so the team: Baker Mayfield, C.J. Stroud, Kyren Williams, David Montgomery, Bashaw Tutin, Jordan Mason, Devin Neal on a 20 pick slide. Although I took him. This is actually Jordan Mason's new ADP, so I don't feel bad about that. Marshawn Lloyd, Sean Tucker. Wide receivers: Nico Collins, Mike Evans, Tet, Ricky Pearsall, Jalen McMillan, Travis Hunter, Jalen Noel, Xavier Restrepo. Elite tight end Brock Bowers. Fourth piece of the Tampa Bay offense, Cade Otton and Harold Fannin Jr. That is what I have today. I really like this team. I'm a little thin at quarterback. I maybe like if I were to redo this, the only thing I could see is not taking Devin Neal and taking Geno Smith there, but that Devin Neal fall feels really good. I think I still made the right call by taking Neal over Geno Smith. Um, and just riding with two. Like, because if this team is going to work and going to be good, some of the Tampa Bay offense is going to have to do well because I have Mike Evans, McMillan, and Cade Otton, and then I took Sean Tucker at the end with Baker. So if I'm making it through the playoff weeks, Baker's scoring touchdowns. So with the way that I built this team, if Baker's not scoring a lot, this team has a pretty low chance to really advance. It would have to have, like, it'd almost have to be Nico, Tet, Ricky Pearsall, or something, or Travis Hunter, Tet, and Nico. And if that happens, well, CJ Stroud probably has an okay game if Nico has an okay game. So, but in general, this team's going to require Baker to have good weeks 15, 16, 17. So, anyway, that is it. Thanks for coming out.